Alrighty, so now we're going to start this process, but what we're going to do is this first little video, I'm going to, this is kind of the day before you're going to get started doing on it. I've decided to make this open source for people so that you can share it and get people trying it and seeing what's happening. And I would love to get some feedback on where you get stuck, where you get confused, those kinds of things, and where I can help in the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is just really expand a little bit on the story that I started to tell about this first time I started to use this process and where it sort of evolved from. And I was telling you about the New Year's Eve that I came home and I felt this emptiness. And I'd been feeling that sort of emptiness, this almost like a fake plastic sort of world that I was living in, that I was doing, going through the motions. I was doing all the things I should do. I'd been through a depression and I'd pulled myself out of it and I was functioning and I was, not in the depression anymore, but I definitely wasn't in a place of thriving or feeling, excited about life again. And, really just, I was doing a lot. My schedule was extremely, extremely busy. So when I first started this, I literally, there's a point where you're going to do some things and make a commitment to do something. And I want you to do it every day. And I did it. I literally couldn't even find an every day in the very, very beginning. I could only find once a week. So if you can only find once a week to do that, then, so be it. But I will tell you, you'll probably get a lot more from it, from doing it as a daily practice and taking it in small chunks. So I mentioned that I don't do New Year's resolutions. Tell me if you've had this experience as well. So my experience with New Year's resolutions are that I'm super enthusiastic about it, super committed to it, sit down and make a great big plan, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to get it right this time, I'm going to, whether it's my, be better at time management, or it's better at, maybe I want to lose some weight, or maybe I want to get more exercise or something, and I, have this like full-on plan, and I'm hitting the ground running, and I'm going to do it, and and not long after that, I start losing steam, and I start moving out of doing that. And there is a reason why those things don't work. And I believe part of that is a lot of times we're doing things for external purposes, or we're doing things for things we think we're supposed to do. Yes, like, we're inundated with so many messages about all the things that are wrong with us all the frickin' time, constantly. So we're constantly working to fix ourselves. And I think that that's detrimental to us. I think it's really detrimental to us. And I think that this process takes you out of that mode and lets you be, more present. Goal setting is another thing that I just have not found to be super successful. There was an article that I read at one point in time about stretch goals and how people set these, humongous goals, because the idea is you set this great stretch goal, something that, reach for the, what does it say? Reach for the stars and you'll land on, reach for the moon, you'll land in the stars, something like that. But they've showed that what it does to self-esteem, because you're constantly trying to set something that you can't actually reach, it makes people be dishonest more often than not. If they use manipulative ways or things like that to get what they want, and it's really not a good thing. Setting those goals and putting them there and saying, this is my goal, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get it no matter what, and I'm going to fight and I'm going to, strive. Like, we wear this suffering like a badge of honor, like it's something, like, oh my God, that's what we have to do, and we have to tell everybody, I don't sleep, I don't, I'm so, proud of myself. Meanwhile, we're burning ourselves out and doing horrible things to our body and horrible things to our mind and self-esteem and the whole bit. And those goals can be, even if we reach them, so even if you do get through that and you go, yes, I did actually reach my goal, they can feel empty. Because we didn't go to the core of why we wanted it, what it was that we were really looking for, and really analyze whether it really was a true goal for us that we wanted, or whether it was sort of an expectation that we set for ourselves that made sense, based on this outside framework, whether it be, family, or whether it be your job, or whatever. It's like, no, you've got to do this, and you've got to meet that, it's very weird. So I've discovered and there are a lot of people that are discovering that there are better ways to have a more fulfilling life. And I think this is a way that allowed me to do that. The whole, I went through a phase of the whole law of attraction and visualizing and, setting that, this is my vision, and hold that vision until it comes true. Well, I don't know about you, but I did that a lot, and I did all the things that, were put in front of me, and, this is all you have to do, and you just have to hold this space and hold this energy, and get that vision in that direction, and then, it's just going to magically materialize. And I'm not going to say it didn't happen sometimes, but I wouldn't say it consistently happened every single time. So you're going to do a little bit of sort of that kind of work, but it's going to be very, very different, because I'm not going to get you to fixate on a particular thing. Not at all. I don't want you to think about outcome at all. The soul setting process is a letting go process. It's a huge letting go and releasing, being present and feeding the soul, and allowing the soul to blossom into all that it wants to bring to you, because it is there, and it's speaking to us all the time. It's this, heartbeat. It's this thing inside of us, this little whisper in your ear, this little, all those kinds of things. And so I'm going to, my hope is that if you do this process, you'll have the same experience that I do, that, there'll be a settling down and relaxation, and those things will just they'll come up naturally and easily. Your life isn't going to stop. Like I said, when I first started it, I could hardly find a few hours to do, this, even in a week. I was working and crazy hours and doing all kinds of things. But I do want you to be really committed to this, and think of this as your part-time job. This is your part-time job until further notice. I'm going to ask you to do it for at least 30 days. If you're really committed and you really want to go for it, stick with me, because I actually think I'm going to do it for the full first quarter of 2021. And because it's simple and easy to follow, it's not something, it doesn't take a lot of time and effort. I can put extra time into it when I want to, but don't have to. Because of that, I think it's an easy thing to commit to. And the last time I did it for months at a time. And even when these crazy, wonderful things started sort of blossoming for me, I just kept going with it, and it just kept getting more and more and more. And I can remember at different times in it where I literally felt like I was on top of the ocean, like an ocean wave was like taking me away, and I was just riding it. That's all I was doing. I was not striving. I was not doing any of those things. And I think because of our society, we have this idea that you have to, like I said, you have to strive, no pain, no gain, all those kinds of things. And I think that actually that can block you in lots of different ways. And why would we want to struggle and be in pain all the time? Like, flip. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like very much fun. And I don't think that's how we're supposed to be living. And I think what happens is you're so determined to be climbing that mountain and getting up that way. Like we're going to barrel through that way, and that's the only way. And I'm so singularly focused in that direction that I don't see that there's, a donkey on this side that is like, hey, Sandy, we can get you to the top really easy. Just come with us, and there's a sky, whatever on on a cable thing, going by, and it's like they're all waving at me, and I'm just, doing this because I'm determined I'm going to get to the top of the hill the way we've been trained to do. So I think that what this does is, gets you outside of that. I think as well as, often, especially if it's a big goal, like I think back about, when I did this music thing, because when I started, I literally had my guitar in the closet, and I've told this story on stages before. My guitar was in the closet. I had had it since I was 12 years old. I had played a little bit I played when I was a teenager, and I was in a choir, and I had let that go, to become, a wife and a mother and all those things. And, doing this process brought that guitar out of the closet, and suddenly I was writing, and I didn't have an agenda to, I'm going to be a performer, and I'm going to sit up, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to I'm going to have a CD, and I'm going to do this, and I didn't have any of that. None of that was there. And I really truly believe, like I said, if I'd set it as a goal, it wouldn't have happened, because I would have been stuck in analysis paralysis, because I get stuck in that a lot. I don't know about any of you, but I do. And most often, the most satisfying, amazing things that happen to you in your life cannot be quantified in a step-by-step process. And the goal-setting process is designed to say, I'm going to begin with the end in mind. I'm going to take all this thing, I'm going to break it down to all these little steps, and then I'm going to do one step at a time. I'm not saying that that isn't impossible to do it, but it's the flippin' hard way to do it. And I think that, if we can get outside of our head and just allow these things, it's like these universal forces have ways of bringing, all of a sudden, I connect through a particular way, and I'm playing my song in front of someone, and then they book me, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, holy crap, now I gotta figure out how do I plug in a guitar, and how do I use a pickup? What is a pickup? I didn't even know what that was. I was so green. I'd never been in a band before, and suddenly I was being asked to be in a band, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I have no skills to be able to be in the band, and I jumped in anyways, and I just did it. And you learn as you go. And all of those things that I learned, the tech, how to set up my sound, how to do my website, how to do that, how to upload, every single thing, you do one step at a time, but you do what's there right before you at that time. And if you sit and start to try and visualize and capture this whole project at a time, I would have been so overwhelmed and so completely felt like there is no way that I have the skills to be able to accomplish that I never ever would have done that. There's a number of things that I've done in the time, and when I keep doing this process again and again, that's exactly what keeps happening for me, is I get myself stuck. I get myself stuck in, how do I get on, or how do I go to that next stage, or how do I fix this problem that I have? And when it takes me a long time sometimes, I have to be honest. Sometimes I'm just as stubborn as anybody else. I'm determined to think myself out of it. And when I stop doing that and I say, I'm going to commit back to this process, I'm going to just do the things that are in front of me one day at a time, where I'm inspired to do, what I'm going to learn next, and suddenly I have this massive amount of skills and all these things that I can pull into all these various things. Even if you completely fail at it, even if you completely fall down and nothing happens, I can tell you this process will make you, make you feel better. You'll feel better about what's happening. And every single thing that you learn along the way is going to be of benefit to you down the road. It's all just a matter of, pulling in, just enjoying the experiences and lapping them up and having some fun with it. So you're going to need a pen, a paper. You're going to need, I would say, get a little notebook and make it pretty and play with it, and call it soul setting, and start something new, because you're going to start with a new process. So you're going to need to do that. You need to be able to do these 2 days back to back. So the day before, New Year's Eve if you can do it, and New Year's Day, or you can do it on the weekend, whenever you need to do it. You can start this process at any time you want. you know, clock yourself the 30 days. You're going to need you're going to need a commitment to do this process every single day for a little bit of time, or as much time as you got if you got more. But just, you know, make sure that you've got a little bit of time every day. I would suggest getting the Insights timer put on your phone so that you can do, if you don't already have it, it's a really cool app, and I'm happy to help you figure that out if you need it. And the most important thing that you need is a willingness to let go and practice the art of surrender for a period of time. Get out of your head, drop into your heart, and come with me on a little ride. So that's what we're gonna do. So come on along.